things to talk about, both mission trip related. First is youth mission trip base, and the purpose of our youth mission trips is to teach youth and to give them the opportunity to spread God's love in unique ways and places. We're still fleshing out sort of what the long-term look of mission trips will look like for the youth ministry. But one way that I have functioned and probably will in the coming years is to set sort of a rotation. So that, and the history at St. Matthew's is to every 4 years provide an opportunity for an international mission trip, which is this year. And the other 3 years, I hope to set some sort of rotation of urban, rural, and still working on what that fourth year will look like. But to give them the opportunity to not just minister in situations that they're comfortable in, but to stretch them and allow them a chance to see different things around the world, around our city, around our country, and find out what life is like for those that are not like them. And obviously our target audience are the youth and the leaders that go with them. We do have a few college kids typically that end up on the trips as well. This year we have a total of 36 that will be on our international mission trip to the Dominican Republic. Of those 36, 24 are students and 12 are adult leaders. Last year was a national trip, I guess. They went to Washington, D.C., and there was a total of 30, 21 students, and 9 adults that went with them. The funding is a little bit skewed this year given the international component. I tried to get John Chapanis to help me find out the money issue or what was budgeted in previous years, and we failed to find that number today. But the amount that is in the budget for this year's international trip is $10,000. Each student or each participant is paying $1,100. The $10,000 that we will take out of the budget will go to defray different group costs. The $1,100 that the group is paying is mostly plane ticket, per diem, expenses in the place we're staying, and their meals, and a few other more individual costs. We're taking items such as the in-country transportation that is for the whole group, and that is part of what is coming out of the budget. The amount that we will be tipping our cook staff, that will come out of the $10,000. There and other group-related costs in order to try to keep the cost from ballooning, so that students have hardships to get there. We will use a little bit more funding. One of the fun things I found in my desk as I moved into the office was a letter from Frank Knuckles, who had left money in memory of Dorothy, his wife, for the next international mission trip. Well, this happens to be the next one that came up. And there are other ways through the youth restricted accounts that we do function. So it does cost more than the $10,000 that is budgeted. But as we progress through the year and do the Great Bowls of Fire fundraiser and other ways, the funding comes in through different channels. If you have your Kroger card program too, every time you swipe your Kroger card, you're helping the youth missions, because that money comes in to that youth restricted account and we save it up to use for mission trip type events and scholarship type activities. And Kroger, we get about $400 a quarter from what I understand. So $1,600 just by shopping. So if you for those men's ministry events and other things that we buy food for, you can swipe your card and help us if you're registered for that. Like I said, this year we will be international. We will be in the Dominican Republic in La Romana from June 25th to July 2nd. The group will be doing Vacation Bible School events out in the Bateys, which are sugarcane villages, and the other part of the group will probably be doing construction of houses within some of the villages that the group that we're going through sets up. The group has already been formed. They are already making payments. We've already got plane tickets. So this is one of the few mission trips that we know our team well in advance because we've got to have those plans. Subsequent years, we have thought toward summer 17, but we don't have any solid plans yet for that. So, any questions? Youth mission trip.
What about the language issue for the ministry that they're doing?
We will have, part of the group that we work through will provide translators. I believe it's one translator for every 6 team members, so we should have at least 6 translators with us. Most of the folks in the city speak Spanish. Most of the folks in the bateys and the villages speak Creole because a lot of them are Haitian. So we will have, the interpreters are able to do both. This is actually a location that in 2014 I took another group from my previous church. So I have been there and have seen it functioning. Most of the interpreters are either college students or work with a local church because one of the interpreters we had basically saved us when we came in trying to do what we thought was VBS to us, and she said, no, that's not how these kids do it. So they taught us as much as we, and very much so that we needed. Other questions? Okay. For this year, it's a unique year. Doubly so because we're in the midst of capital campaign and Great Bowls of Fire falls right in the middle of it. But one thing we need is, in addition to the financial support that we have already gotten, it is the continual prayer support. And we're going to find a way to introduce the team and make sure you know and have ways to actually let them know that you're a part of the team, whether you're in the Dominican with us or sitting here at your house praying. On an average year, when the budget line does not say $10,000 and we don't have the active front end of a capital campaign, there may be funding questions, and it may be if for those that are able, find a kid or let us know if you can help a kid make a payment on a trip. Previous mission trip, I believe the DC trip was about $350. There are some kids that's a problem for, and I don't ever want to tell a kid no. So, anything else? Okay. Next is college mission trip, and this is very sketchy, and Nancy sort of gave me a little bit of leeway to sort of approach college ministry in a different way. We are in the process of brainstorming and working through what the college ministry will be and how we're going to do it. The college, we are hoping to do a college mission trip in May before the rest of the world releases from school. Once the college kids starts filtering back in, we hope to be able to take them somewhere, and we're not talking big places, we're not talking big money, but maybe an Eastern Kentucky, Appalachia outreach type something, we're not exactly sure. But we had, over Christmas break, we had a college retreat. And to sort of allow them to remain connected to each other, allow them a chance to engage and to stay. The longer you can keep a student engaged in church life, the more likelihood you have at keeping them involved for the long term. So as we went on our college retreat this year, we had devotions. We ate and ate and ate, which it was very important to have food. But we had 17 of our college students that were present together. Some that were Joy Beth DeWitt had just finished at Murray State, all the way down to our freshmen that had just finished their first semester. And they laid around, they played Super Smash Brothers together, we played cards, we danced all night at 2 in the morning to Disney show tunes. But it allowed them a chance to be together. And one of the things that came out of that was the discussion about, do you want an opportunity to have a mission trip? Because you get out of youth, you've done mission trips every summer, and you become a college student, and now you're like, okay, now what? So in order for us to keep students connected to missions and give them opportunities to serve and to stay connected with our church, the goal is that as they finish their school year and come home, we will provide them, and like I said, it's very sketchy right now. It may be just a 4-day trip to somewhere to do something for somebody else. But if you've ever been through final exams, you focus a lot on yourself and what you have to do to function. So hopefully we can provide the opportunity for them to think about someone else instead of just all for themselves. The budget for this year that was put in for the college mission trip with the idea of doing it was $2,000. We are hoping to do something that maybe we won't use all of that. We're trying to make sure it's very cost effective, both for the church and for the students themselves. The retreat that we did, $700 was budgeted. Each student that went paid $10. Very nominal, but nobody was able to say, I can't go because of money. Now we may do a few adjustments, but basically what the students contributed paid for the food, and the church provided the place to do it. And it made a difference to them. So hopefully the mission trip will allow us to keep making a difference in the lives of students who want to still feel like they're an integral part of our church. Any questions?
These college students that you're dealing with, are these pretty much people who've grown up in the church, or are you also having people from, coming to U of L or Spalding or whatever?
These 17 and the ones that we're gearing this part of the mission, this mission trip to, are our students. Okay. We are in process of working toward, for the college ministry, we're spending this next semester improving what we do, so that when we get to next semester and a new school year, we can go to U of L campus and hand out flyers and say, come to us, we're doing something worth being here for. Yeah. And one of the things I've learned, one of the things that Calvary Baptist in Lexington does is send letters to churches, say, we're glad that your student has you as a church home. If your student is away from home for school at UK, we are here and we would love to be their church home while they're at school. So I plan to do the same thing across Kentucky for folks coming to Louisville. So the goal is to increase what we're doing to those that are not ours, but we're starting where we're at, making it strong so that when others come in, there's something worth coming into.
Good, thank you.
Any others?